Or not high quality water in certain area, majority of the area, Navajo reservation, sea aquifers, any treatment of these water to bring it up to quality water. Is there funding provision that is perpetual, year to year? The cost, the maintenance. That's what I'm fishing for. If it's one time, or 5 years, 10 years, I don't think that would suffice.
O&M you're probably asking about desalination.
Yeah. Desalination.
Yeah, that's expensive. Even places like San Diego struggling with it. They're doing a lot of it in California, or Florida actually.
I mean, that's what we're going to be faced with. Unless we have a pumping and then we artificially construct a natural treatment of the waters, you know, run it through a system, and later on we can have a drinkable water rather than seawater.
There are pilot programs that are out there that Water Management is working on with Bureau of Reclamation, yeah. But those are on a small scale, individual home treatment plants. They're put together by U of A students.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing we're doing. We try to do windmills, and we're trying to do all of these things. But the technology's out there, but the expense is. But every day, every year, it seems like it's going down. So if it goes down a certain time frame, yes, you know, it's going to become feasible enough, and that water is going to become available to us. But in the meantime, the sea aquifer still has plenty of water. I mean, if the off-reservation people are pumping 90,000 times more than you know, they're taking a tremendous amount of water, and we want to use our share as well too. This is basically the main water source for northeastern Arizona, the Coconino. So Flagstaff is using it, Winslow, Holbrooks. Most everybody on the rim is using it. So a lot of the irrigation companies out there are using it as well too. So out of projects, again, yeah, there are O&M component in there. So we're going to get to a slide on that too.
So that, I mean, the cost itself, I know the treatment is tremendous amount of, in terms of dollars, in terms of desalting water and maintaining the equipment also will be high cost in itself. So that's what I'm looking at in the future.
Potable water, they're very old, they're not up to date, and they're right there. Especially during the summer, it's high stress in those areas. How is that being addressed regarding the sea aquifer groundwater? And when you're talking about the long range, line-wise, the long way, talking about timeline, since you're saying this increasing the use of the sea aquifer, how are you incorporating like conservation of a lot of these waters in that area or across Navajo?
That's a very good question, one of the main things, Coconino Gia, projects, the project life that's written in the settlement is a 50-year life. So what we did is we took out the demands of each chapter in those areas, which is Talani Lake, all of those chapters that are in that service area. We took their 2000 census or 1990 census and we ramped it up by a 2.68% growth rate, which is pretty robust. But we kind of, took our stand on that. Although in terms of gallons per capita per day, we took a stance of 160 gallons per capita per day. So if you take your 2000 census for Loop chapter, let's say, and ramp it up for 50 years by a 2.48% growth rate, you're going to get a certain number of people for Loop. Then you times that by 160 gallons per capita per day. And then on top of that, you put a peaking factor of 2.0 on the system itself. That's a pretty robust system that is written into these settlements. Yeah. Although one of the other things is that if you have a legal right to something, then you have something to stand, against and say no to all of these people that are pumping. So what's going to happen is that a lot of this stuff is going to start dwindling down. Although, what was the one other question? That first one. The depth of the water varies pretty much. When you're going through the Mogollon Rim, that's where it kind of goes underneath, and I think right around that corner of the reservation, I believe it was around 600 feet down. I think the thickness is over, I believe, 200 feet of the Coconino sandstone. So they did like 3 wells that are out there, and they did pump test them for 30 days. So there's a lot of studies that have been done in that whole area. Pretty much, auto conservation again. Those are things that is going to have to be dealt with in the future. Flagstaffs and all of those places are doing it right now. Flagstaff, for instance, used to use like over 200 gallons per person per day. But they implemented a whole lot of conservation management programs, and now they're down to 129 gallons per capita per day. So there are communities that are out there that are taking a lot of this stuff, for their future outlook. Although Flagstaff does have purchased a ranch that's right south of the reservation there. Yeah. Right around there. It's called the Red Gap Ranch. It was bought specifically to be a water farm. And one of the things the Navajo Nation did was it got to the table with the city of Flagstaff and said, hey, this is a huge concern to us. And if you're planning on taking X amount of acre feet of water from there, we're not going to allow that. We're going to try everything we can to stop you. So the two entities did get together, and they did, I believe, signed a memorandum of understanding, saying that Flagstaff is not going to pump X amount of water, things like that. And this is what they're adhering to as well, the buffer zones, even though it's not. They could have easily said, there's no settlement out there. We're just going to drill our wells wherever we want. But they still did adhere to this. So one of their main biggest well is like further down south. Their mediocre wells are right around that middle, and there's still no Flagstaff wells within that. But this is us in the planning stage.